What's up, Earth Rockers? It's your boy Shovatar, back for my second and final Dracula X video. This one, I gotta admit, this was recorded a long time before my no damage video that I posted earlier this week. So, the level of gameplay here is generally going to be lower, and this is a no death, not a no damage, so it's many levels less impressive. And there was a part of me, honestly, after I finished watching the footage from that I posted earlier this week, and as I got ready to sit down and commentate this footage, there was a part of me that was like, should I go back? Should I go back and try to no damage the good ending route in the game? But ultimately, I decided that that was not, I don't want to say, like, not feasible or not practical, but, like, there are some issues with the main, with, like, the best ending route that are not present in the other routes that make the prospect of no damaging it trickier. And really all I wanted to do with this revisit was go back and complete challenges that I'd intended on completing or that I'd thought about completing the first time around. Honestly, the only reason I even posted a second or decided to do a second Dracula X run besides this was just because my in the process of playing Dracula X again, I realized how much I enjoyed it, and I was just kind of like looking for excuses to play it more. So that's the only reason why that no damage even exists. This video was like the original objective, was to go back and beat it no death on the best ending route. So there's a part of me that kind of winces and like kind of get like a little bit of a scratchy, painful sensation in my stomach when I upload a no damage video and then a no death video. But I have to kind of face cold hard reality that you know, getting the no damage footage for the easy route was a big project. It took a lot longer than I expected it to, and so I have to imagine that getting a no damage run for the difficult route, for the best ending route, would be even worse. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, or I guess a minute ago, I've only been talking for a couple minutes in total, there are a couple of specific sections in particular that I was very concerned about in the context of a no damage, and which prevented me from ultimately taking that leap. There's also like time concerns, generally. Like I'm basically like in the home stretch of this little like Castlevania project, and I kind of want to finish this up and like wrap this up, because I'm like real life stuff is starting to crop into my existence again. So I kind of don't want to spend like another however long it would take me to get like a best route no damage, and kind of like have that distracting me. So that's my list of excuses. I hated this bridge part when I first played the game, and I still think it's kind of, you know, you do just kind of have to learn it. Like, I didn't like how picky that part was when I first played through this game about when you could or couldn't, like when you could jump. Like you have to jump at very particular times during that like merman bridge section. But another weird thing that I realized in retrospect was that for some bizarre reason I was just kind of very averse to picking up the cross in that section, even though that's like obviously what the game wants you to do. Now that being said, there are like the axe is the best sub-weapon in Dracula X, and there's very few parts of the game where the axe can't give you some kind of benefit. Like, for example, instead of jumping up to fight that knight, I could have just killed him from below. And then here, instead of doing what I'm going to do, which is, I think I'm going to item crash. No, not yet. Okay. I'm going to item crash here. No, not yet. I'm going to take damage. So let him get too close. Instead of item crashing to deal with those knights up above, I could just be throwing axes at them. But I also want the cross for the boss of this level also, which I didn't talk about at all in my last video. Sorry. I didn't talk about these spear knights at all in my last video. Those knights with those spear knights are honestly like the craziest thing in Dracula X, coming to it from Rondo of Blood, because they're so much scarier in Dracula X than they are in Rondo. They take one more whip to kill, and the range of their spears is lengthened. So it's a lot harder to safely, That was so bad. It's a lot harder to safely, approach them. It's a very particular, like balancing act you're doing, where there's like a very specific distance where you have to be in order to both not get hit by their spear and also, whip them. So what happens with this, the plan with this boss is to basically keep him in the same place the whole fight by throwing a cross whenever he's in the process of reforming, such that the cross hits him right when he finishes like becoming a big bat. But the problem is that he keeps on like moving in ways I don't expect, where he'll suddenly swerve up or down, and I don't really have the timing for the cross correctly, right on point, which is what happened in the middle there, but now I'm kind of back into a better rhythm. Still pretty awkward and pretty slow, but, wow. But I got it. I didn't get the no damage, which is what I wanted, but I got it. That should be the description of this whole video. I didn't get the no damage, which is what I wanted, but I got the footage. Really, the thing about the easy route that makes it so easy is just the fact that you are dealing with no level 3 boss, and the boss of level 3 is a problem, as you're going to see in this footage. You're also dealing with, in the easy route, you're dealing with like a much less, a much easier level 4, and an easier level 5, although I would say both level 5s in both routes present their own unique difficulties for a no damage run. Like which I guess I'll have to wait to point out. Really, in the easy route level 5, or like the main like level 5, the problematic part is really the Hunchback Gauntlet, because the Hunchbacks, their behavior is RNG to a large extent, and so if you're not like super proactive about hitting them as soon as they come down, or knocking them out of the sky with the axe, then they can really fuck you up. Richter in Dracula X is not as spry as he is in Rondo of Blood. That is still truth, even though my complaints relating to that were kind of disproportionate. Alright, why do I have this fucking window open? I don't know what I was expecting. It's fucking, what time is it? It's 7 p.m. on a Friday night, so of course everybody's gonna be out. I guess I was just hoping against hope that wouldn't happen, but it did. Maybe you guys might not even hear it. I might edit it out. I intend to edit it out. Hopefully I'll remember, but there was a fucking really loud motorcycle rev right before I closed the window. I'll at least quiet it down so it doesn't like blow your guys' fucking eardrums out. Oh man. This is exactly the kind of thing what I mean that I'm talking about when I talk about like why the axe is good, because no other sub-weapon in the game lets you solve that problem. Like the axe in Dracula X is so much better than everything else that it's almost like, I don't know. It's the most. I would almost go so far as to say that the axe in Dracula X is like more overpowered than the holy water in Castlevania 1. Well, that's not true. Because the holy water in C1 and C3 lets you just basically lets you not fight half the bosses. So that's But the axe is like just so good in every single part of Dracula X. It's like, I don't know. This part is actually kind of annoying. Like I'm playing it super safe, but you have to, because if you fall into any of those gaps, you get sent to the bad level 4, which is not what I want. And also the nature of like iframes in Dracula X is that you can get hit and then you can get hit again really quickly afterwards. So the nature of iframes in Dracula X is that Richter just doesn't have that many. So the Doulahan, which is the boss at level 3, is an issue. There's a solution that I knew about at this time, but that I just didn't execute correctly. See, the idea is to use the key item crash to go over the ice spikes when he summons them, and then just like stay where you are and keep whipping him once you land. But the issue was basically that I hit the item crash button too soon, so I landed on the tail end of the ice spikes. And then walked into the Doulahan like an idiot, like twice. So that was a very, very bad boss fight. That boss fight is not really like a no damage concern. If I really did set out to, like, if I had set out to do a no damage of this route, like, I would just learn the timing for the item crash correctly. Because the Doulahan in Dracula X is kind of like, compared to the Doulahan in Rondo, is kind of like the comparison between the Dracula X werewolf and the Rondo werewolf. In that, like, the Doulahan in Dracula X is much more of like a regular boss fight, where he's just a lot more predictable. In Rondo of Blood, the behavior of the Doulahan is dictated to a large extent by how much health he has and whether you've met certain health thresholds. So unless you play the fight literally identically every time, you're in danger of him doing different things on different attempts. And whereas with the Dracula X Doulahan, I'm fairly sure he just does like a jump and then the ice spike and then the jump and then the ice spike, and then it looked like he was going to do something with his head at the end there. I don't know what exactly that was going to be, if that was going to be like rocks falling from the ceiling or if he was going to like throw his head at you, because those are the two like head attacks that he has in Rondo. I don't know, but it's much more predictable, which is similar to like the werewolf in Rondo of Blood is just a complete and total, like he just spazzes out the whole time, but the werewolf in Dracula X is much more of like a real boss fight. Ditto with the Doulahan. I just fucked up. This part right here is one of the worst parts of the entire game, and it's exactly what I mean when I talk about why I didn't want to no damage this, because it worked out there. But what you're doing at that part of this level is you're dealing with the position of the spike platform going up and down, and the spawn cycle of the bats, and the position of the axe armor. And if those don't all line up perfectly to like what you saw there, like if you don't get on the spike platform at a timing that a bat is not going to come at you, and you also have time to get down on the floor to fight the orange armor or the red armor, whatever. Like, if you don't get that timing down perfectly, like, you're fucked. Like, something is gonna go wrong. You're either going to... And don't even get me started on these fuckers, by the way. Like, you're either gonna land on top of the axe guy, or the axe guy is gonna, like, throw an axe at you when you're not expecting it, or he's gonna charge you, and then a bat is gonna come at you at the same time, and you have to, like, either backflip over him but not get hit by the bat, or try to, like, time a whip swing such that, like, you're hitting the knight as he hits you, because when enemies are taking damage, they can't damage you, and he'll pass through you, but, like, so much can go fucking wrong at that beginning portion of that particular stage. This was something I learned specifically. I didn't, like, drill the lead up to Maria, but leaving Maria's room, I did drill that part and that particular movement to fall down, to like bait the skulls over and then fall down onto the moving platform, then get the rosary to clear them all out. That was all specifically practiced. And this is another part that I really did not want to have to fucking deal with in the context of a no damage, because it's like hunchbacks fucking galore this whole next section, and they just don't care. Like, they will just jump at you and run at you and just not get hit by your whip swings, even when it looks like they absolutely should. And it's just a fucking nightmare. And the thing that makes it all so terrible is that you're stuck, you have to have the key the whole time. Like, you can't, that part with the knight and the bat and the spikes going up and down, if I could get there with like the cross or the holy water or some sub-weapon that had a really good item crash and just dump like 30 or 40 hearts into killing that knight to get through that spot, that would absolutely be worth it. But I can't. I'm stuck with the fucking key the whole time because I need the key to open the door to get to alternate 5. So that's the first big problem with the notion of no damaging. The best ending route is that stretch of level 4, pretty much from like the knight bat spike area through the ghosts and the floating platforms, through the hunchback room, is just like a fucking nightmare. And I mean, to be fair, like the second part with the ghosts was kind of learnable, so the first part probably is too, I don't know. But like trying to like deal with the fucking overlap of the timing of all that would just be so fucking annoying. I'm talking about the bat spike night room now, and it's just like, I just if my fucking life depended on it, if I really wanted to, I shouldn't say if I wanted to I could, that doesn't mean anything. That was what intimidated me. And then this level is actually not that bad from a no damage standpoint, because it's a level that really punishes you very hard for, okay, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't even fucking know what happened. Like, what? My right knuckle brushed the edge of a purple, and then what is that? What is that air shot shit? Okay, I'm actually really glad I didn't go for a no damage now, because I can't imagine having to deal with ridiculous shit like that. Fucking 17 minutes into the run. Fuck that. Like, the Hunchback Gauntlet in level 5 was bad, like, they could do some dumb shit, but that was, like, a lot. That was, like, 12 minutes into the run, and that was the only part of it that was like that. Getting through the nightmare that is level 4, only to get, like, fucking bopped by a random Skull Serpent who's, like, playing using 100% of his power would just be infuriating. So now that I'm watching this part of the footage, I'm actually glad that I decided to pussy out and not no damage with the best ending route. Victor, my love! Should I make a Castlevania Nocturne joke? No, I'm not going to do it. More Castlevania Nocturne footage is released circa the time that I'm recording this, so now everybody on the internet is saying all the dumb shit they say about it. What was I saying? Yeah, level 5 punishes you a lot when you do it the first time, because there's lots of, like, just parts where the game trolls you. Like, there's lots of shit like this room, this aqueduct room is just nothing but the game trolling you. Because, like, fishmen keep walking out from the side of the screen, water skulls spawn from, like, sometimes behind parapets where you can't see them. They jump out of the gaps like that, there's, like, a crow up there, like, in my original, playthrough. Shut the fuck up. In my original, like, playthroughs of this game, when I didn't no death the best ending route. I 1cc'd it, and this is where my first death was. It was because I forgot, like, one fishman spawn in one of these gaps, and I, like, jumped into him. I think it was that one right there. But once you know it, once you know what all this level's, like, stupid tricks are, then it's not that hard to no damage it. But the boss, on the other hand, is a total fucker, and just, I mean, I don't even know what I could say about it, other than what I just did, which is that he's a total fucker. I never figured out this boss. I never figured out how you were supposed to do damage to him half the time. Like, that is... Like, how are you supposed to do damage to him when he does this? Are you just not supposed to? Or are you just supposed to stand there and try to dodge it? Because he seems like he does this shit a lot. Like, are you seeing this? I don't know. If I couldn't figure out... If there's a pattern to his attacks, I never figured it out. It just kind of seemed to me like half the time you just can't fucking hit him, and he just zooms around the boss arena having a gay old time, and you are just like there as a spectator waiting for him to finish and do something you can actually meaningfully react to. So that boss can suck my dick every day of the week, but other than, I mean, look at that shit. I got out with like fucking quarter of my health. Nothing even happened. Well, okay, I got hit a lot. That's what happened, but like, I don't know. I really don't like that boss. I like the werewolf a lot now that I've like gone through the gauntlet of like learning it, but I hate that fucking boss. I did see some like no damage strat for him that involved like staying all the way to the left the whole time, but it didn't really make that much sense to me when I watched the footage. Sometimes when I watch like footage of people who are better at these games than me, and they do a certain thing on a boss, I'll be like, oh, okay, I get it, that makes sense, like that's creative. But then sometimes I'll watch footage like that, and I'll just be like, this guy is doing shit that makes no fucking sense to me. And this was the latter case. It's actually crazy to see me do this room without like actually approaching the turrets with the bird next to them instead of trying to item crash to kill the bird from a million miles away, which is what I was doing in my no damage runs. So that's pretty funny. I think, okay, as much as I like Dracula X now, I do still think this room is fucking stupid, because, like, this room is a trap. You can't see it, but there's, like, if I had kept going over to the right there instead of just jumping up the rocks and escaping, there's, like, a whole room over there. There's, like, another spear knight, there's, like, more floating rocks, there's, like, meat with, like, a bat guarding it, like a respawning bat if you go far enough to the right. Like, there's just a bunch of shit in there, and it's all pointless. It's all just a total fucking waste of cartridge space. Like, there's no reason to ever go over there, because even if you've taken damage and you really want the fucking, you really want the meat that's over there, like, you're just gonna fucking die. Like, you're gonna get over there, and then you're just gonna die, because a fucking bat is gonna knock you off the blocks, or you're gonna take damage coming back to the left from a bat or a spear knight or something, or like there's just so many more opportunities to fuck up if you go that way. It's like, it's such a bad idea. This was also, like, I don't know why I never, like, learned, I don't know if I had a plan there and I didn't execute it, or if I just never bothered, like, trying to, like, learn this part properly, because I figured this part out pretty quickly when I went back to do the no damage, because I had to. And that's the thing about a no damage also, is no damages, more than anything else, like, force you, I mean, this sounds like obvious, but they force you to find good, consistent solutions. That was like the same thing that I discovered when I first started 1cc'ing these games, was like, oh, now I have to like actually think about what I'm doing in a way that I didn't before, where I have to actually account for all these risks and try to make sure that I know how to handle all these obstacles, and like I have to actually learn the game. And then when I started doing Deathless runs, that was amplified even further, and then when I was doing no damage runs, it was like to the maximum. And again, like, that sounds really obvious, but it's like not something, it's not something I really thought about that much until I actually sat down and started doing it. The like, oh, now I actually can figure this part out that was giving me trouble, because now I fucking have to. And it was just a matter of having the impetus and having the motivation to actually figure it out. That's kind of what that skull floating platform part was like. I also picked up the cross to use an item crash on that Spear Knight in that long vertical room, because I wanted the cross for the Grim Reaper fight here, which is the other big reason why I really did not fucking want to try to no damage this game on the best ending route, because death is a fucking menace in Dracula X. Like, the scythe, obviously the scythe spawns are random, sometimes their directions are random. Death's movement isn't necessarily random, and there's a couple of different ways to deal with him. Something that I've seen a lot of people do is they'll use the dagger to basically try to herd Death over to the left and keep him off the edge of the clock tower, and like try to avoid like ever dealing with his scythes in the first place. Which I did when I first played the game, and then I tried doing it again when I came back to it, but like I just couldn't. That was fucking crazy, by the way. But I just like couldn't replicate it. But I ultimately went with the cross, because the problem that I did always have, even back at the beginning when my first playthroughs of the game, was that attack right there. That is the fucking dumbest shit in the whole game. That, like, when he jumps up and does his, like, spinny scythe attack and jumps at you, like, I never fucking figured out how you don't just get hit by that and die. Not that it one-shots you, but, like, he can just do it over and over and over again. That's, if you watch my old 1cc footage, that's literally what happens. He does that shit 4 times in a row and it kills me, and I end up dying, like, 2 or 3 times on that boss. And I know you might be thinking, Shovatar, you talked about how it's so hard to no-damage the Grim Reaper, but you no-damaged him in this footage. Why do you think I'm uploading this footage? Why do you think I didn't go back and just do a better no-death? It's because this is the fucking run where I no-damaged the Grim Reaper. Like, this is the most valuable... That's like a fucking 1 in 1,000 thing for me. Like, I guess if I practiced it, it would probably be more like a 1 in a... I don't know. But that was like... That was insane. I think that's the first time I've ever done that. In like a... In a full run. And it wasn't even, and it was purely because I had the right answer for Phase 2, and then Phase 1 I just played really well. And the scythe spawns never, like, fucked with me too much. Die, bitch. There you go. Like, to a certain extent, as always is the case with the Grim Reaper, to a certain extent I did kind of get lucky, but I also played that fucking really well. That was a really fucking good Phase 1. I just don't think that's the kind of thing that I could do consistently. So, like, yeah, level 4, plus the level 5 boss and all the dumb shit he does, plus the Grim Reaper and the kind of, oh, this is interesting. Okay, that works. There's no reason you can't just item crash from the left and achieve the same result and then kind of have to do one fewer jump. That's what I did in my no damage footage, but I guess that works too. What's always tricky about that... Oh my god, okay. Alright. I knew that was too far to the left, but I guess I barely made it. What's tricky about that item crash on the Spear Knight there is that is the correct move. There's really no other good way to clear him out, in my opinion. I think there is probably a timing where you can just jump on the elevators, and that's why I'm pre-throwing crosses there, by the way, because the Medusa heads keep fucking spawning. I think there is a timing you can take on the upward platforms to, like, totally avoid the Spear Knight. But what's tricky about item crashing to kill him is that sometimes the item crash doesn't kill him. Sometimes he just doesn't take enough damage. But... there he did, and he died in one item crash, which is important, because I really want to get to Dracula with 99 hearts, because I really want to be able to throw axes as fast as I possibly can. Excuse me, during Phase 2 of Dracula. Which is how it works in Dracula X. The higher your heart count, the faster you can throw your sub-weapons at certain intervals. Which I assume are like 33 and 66, but I don't know. Well, what I mean by that is I assume that, like, 33 hearts is when you start throwing them faster, and then 66 hearts is where you start throwing them even faster than that, and then, like... And then if you go below those thresholds, you get downgraded, but I don't actually know what the numbers are. I just know that I throw a lot of fucking axes in this fight, and I want to end this fight above whatever the threshold is for the fastest, like, axe throwing, like, qualification number. I don't know. This boss is... this is the kind of boss that I feel like I should be annoyed by, because the way that I play it, which is the smart way to play it, there's there's components of RNG to it. Even if you, like, speedrun this game, there's components of RNG to the Dracula fight, just because he can teleport into different places. But I think because there's, like, always a right decision to make, regardless of where he teleports to, I never felt like this fight was, like, unfair or unfun. I always just felt like it was more like, kind of like Phase 1 of Dracula from Castlevania 1, where it's just about, like, making the correct decisions and hitting the correct timings. A little bit more complicated this time, though. I actually don't like starting Phase 2 from like, the central pillar like that anymore. Here, I did it, and it worked out barely. If I'd been a little bit further to the right, one of those fireballs absolutely would have hit me, but fortunately... I was in the correct spot, and I guess he didn't go far enough over to the right to make that a problem. Because I remember I was in my, when I was doing no damage attempts for the easy route. Like the first time I got to Dracula, I started phase 2 from that central pillar because I remembered that as being like a safe place to do that, and I was like spamming axes at him. I want to say he was in a roughly almost exactly the same spot, but like he shot a fireball that like barely clipped my big toe and hit me, and I had to restart the run. So I don't really know what the differences were there. I know that he does his big lightning shockwave attack once he gets down to a certain amount of health, so maybe I was like not spamming axes fast enough in the attempt. I don't know. I guess I'd have to compare the footage, and I don't have the old failure footage anymore because I deleted it, and then I took the hard drive containing it and I threw it into a volcano, and then I blew up the volcano with a nuke because that was how mad it made me. Anyway, that's Dracula X. This was a little bit more me like talking about the individual levels than the last video, which is what I wanted. Although I actually kind of wanted it to be reversed. I was kind of hoping that the last video ended up being more of a play-by-play because it was a no damage. There's kind of like more to cover. And then this one would be more of like a general thoughts on the game. It ended up being the reverse, whatever. I had more excuses to give for this video to explain why it's not a no damage. So I guess it worked out that I ended up talking more about specifics in this video and generalities in the last one. Anyway, again, Dracula X, this game is really fucking good. Like, I complained a lot just now, but like, I was complaining about it in the context of like a no damage run, which is a very particular thing. If you're just like playing the game casually, like all you're gonna get is just like a really solid challenge, which is what I said in the last video. That's kind of what Dracula X is focused around. It's also focused more around like really testing your limits as a player and really exploiting your weaknesses as a player. And it's just a great fucking game. I was a detractor of it for a long time, and then I came into it again with a different perspective, and I saw the value in it. Anyway, what's coming up next? I think next is going to be Chronicles. Yes, another game that I am going to have a couple of things to say about, as you would hope about if you were going to make a YouTube video about it. Anyway, keep your eyes out for that. That's coming soon, and in the meantime, hang in there and keep on Earth rocking.